That's okay. All right.
Hey, everybody. We're back.
Yeah, I'm not in the best mood today. I had 2 very long days, but I guess we all thought it was a good idea to get together and fight about this, right? Is that what we're doing?
Civil discourse, healthy civil
Right.
discourse.
Civil discourse. All right. So who wants so let's start with, I just feel like aside from what we have to talk about, I hope what's been exposed is the complete horseshit this whole transportation debate has been about. It's really going on 2 years, really. But, the whole thing has been exposed with, the flip-flops and a former board member trying to spin inaccurate positions. I mean, it's been like a circus around a service that a lot of people actually rely on and depend on. And it's the really unfortunate thing, I think, well, whether it's fortunate, I don't know, it might be fortunate that's what's been exposed is sort of, we all know, Pam is coming up for re-election. And I don't know what this was. I have a feeling that this was an attempt on some level. Is this an attempt to delay the budget? Is this an attempt to shore up a certain voting block? But in any case, it kind of blew up in everybody's face. And the sad thing is, I think that there are a lot of families that are really anxious at this point about this. That what could have been a serious, considered pathway to a completed policy that solved a lot of questions ended up being a really opportunistic shit show that still doesn't have a solution to it. And I think that's the main thing in my mind right now. I don't know what your thoughts are on it. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I think there was like a general sense of excitement and relief when it came to light that the district was actually focusing, justifiably so, on a situation that affects so many, and by hiring the consultants. And even that was kind of an exciting presentation, to have somebody dedicated that we paid all this money to, walking every street, biking every street, and looking at it. And then
or
for
so
me,
we think that's what we were told. That's what happened. Yeah.
Right. And then it sounded like it was a data-driven presentation. And then what we found is that we're still kind of wondering if there is data, who's seen it, can the public see it? So I think that it's like we opened Pandora's box at this point. There's a lot more questions about what happened, what are we not sharing?
Forget the consultants. Where is the town? I'm sorry, but a Councilwoman Illis is in front of the BOE talking about hazardous roads. I haven't heard her bring that up once in a town council meeting. So I don't know why we have consultants if the township, if as the district is saying, if all these people in the town, like the BHPD and Margaret and all these people, have concerns about the roads, where are the discussions on crosswalks and sidewalks in town council meetings? Why are they showing up at people's doors asking them to sign petitions or going in front of BOE meetings when they are the ones that could change a lot of this already? That's a big question I have in my mind.
Okay, but to be fair, that's going to be a very long-term solution, and we need to fix this quicker than that.
Well, that's true. But why is it? But this has been a long-standing problem to this point. So why I agree. What is it up? What's up with the high-pressure game right now?
So I don't know about you guys. You've lived here a lot longer than I have.
Yeah.
But I've been here almost 8 years. This really came to a head with Julie Cott's fiscal cliff nonsense, as far as I recall. So we're really talking more about like a 1.5-ish long process, as far as I see it. And the sidewalk issue is going to take way longer than that to fix. So I think right now, we've accomplished a lot of what we set out to accomplish, which was to force anybody, to start sharing what they were using to base their decisions on. Does that make sense?
I guess. you know, I don't feel that's an accomplishment. I feel like it absolves the town. Like, I don't get why the school district, like, it's the how is a school district responsible for defining hazardous routes? This goes back beyond Julie Cott. This goes all the way back to the reconfiguration when all the roads were deemed safe to walk.
Mhm.
And a lot of the people, including the council members who are speaking about this now, didn't say a word when that was said 2 years ago. It just feels very political and artificial, in my opinion. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
But anyway, let's go to. But you're right, Shauna. Regardless of how we got here, right now, you're right. It is an immediate issue, and you're absolutely correct that there's nothing that the town could do right now to solve this problem, right? So, Laura, you put out an article today. You want to talk about that a little bit, or do you want me
Sure.
to?
Yeah, I can go, and
Go
then
ahead.
you can try to fight me, but you're gonna lose.
I don't think I'm gonna
So the issue now is that we are in the predicament of it's mid-April and we need some sort of a solution. Shauna's sideways. It's okay.
I know. I'm just messing
God,
with my.
Shauna,
Very
you and your
distracting.
shit over there. Go ahead.
I have
So
OCD,
we're in this-
and it's driving me crazy that my laptop's not working.
All right, just
I'll
don't
try to
answer the
stop.
fucking phone this time, okay?
All right, I'll try to stop messing with it. Sorry.
So the issue that is ahead of us is that we need to, not us, the district needs to figure out what they're doing for September. So we haven't seen data or criteria, and in my opinion, I think for any policy to be voted on, we need to know, like, where are we? We need some sort of foundation to get to where we're going. So I think one of the board members gave suggestion that was very black and white. Either we offer universal busing, we use this extra money that's sitting in our budget. I think it's around $4 million, and we figure it out. We figure out the schedules for next year, and we just offer everyone who wants busing. The other option is we don't offer busing. We don't have time to figure out criteria or find data. So we don't do busing. Of course, that would be outside of what the state mandates, which is K through 8, anyone over 2 miles gets bused. And for the high school, anyone over 2.5 miles. I don't think there's time to plan anything else right now. All right, go. I can see you're like foaming
No,
at yeah, no, just go.
I don't have no, I'm not like that. I mean, so look, I get where Natasha's coming from on that. And in most situations, I like the idea of a universal benefit because I do think like means testing and things like that tend to invoke certain things that I don't think should be there. But, you know, the point that I want to make is our median income in this community is $196,000. That's our median income, median household income. In New Jersey, across the state, it's 45,000. Across the country, it's 36,000. Our median household income is $196,000.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, and I have a real problem, a real issue with working class and middle class families subsidizing busing for families who make way more than that live close to the school unless their kids on a hazardous road. I could see the argument for a 2-parent family who's working, who's making at or below that income, and who needs busing as a matter of survival. And it's just one of those things where I think the people who have, on some level, need to, like, it is an issue of equity and fairness. You know, like if you're a 2-parent family, a 2 working parent family who's trying to get by and needs transportation as a necessity to get to work, then I think you make a fair argument as to why that service should be in place and should be subsidized. In that case, it's not a luxury. You know, but if you're sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I don't disagree with your feeling about this, but how would you go about defining necessity? Oh, thank you. Who did that?
When you stick your thumb up, for some reason, it just does it automatically.
Oh wait, I did this the other day.
My daughter says I have weird thumb. Is this weird? Is this weird? Like my
Yeah.
thumbs? Is that weird?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It is? Okay. I'm sorry,
so-
Laura, go ahead.
my
So
finger
the
does.
question would be that you are assuming that the income of a family is a correlation to a necessity. You said that twice, which I don't disagree with, but my argument would be it could be a necessity for parents who make over $196,000. It may be a necessity to have busing to get their child to school. So while I agree, I think that like the free and the free lunch program that we have, we should figure out the people that need it the most. But when you say necessity, who's to say that dual working parents don't need the bus for their kid because they have work commitments? So I just think there's a lot, your situation's a lot more hairy than some other situations.
Well, I think there's a difference between a 2-parent household income that can afford 18 vacations to the Caribbean and a working 2-parent household that, is just getting by. And my feeling is a very fair way of determining that. And there's another argument to this that I want to make, by the way. But there's a really fair argument to that in terms of the free lunch program. We could just use that as the standard, and that cuts a lot of like bullshit out the door in terms of people don't have to reapply. We've done this with clubs and activities. Like, that if you meet that standard, there's an automatic roll in. But I want to kind of make another point if I can. I don't want to but this, I'm going to forget this. The other piece of this is you have districts in the state that can't even afford to give their kids textbooks. And, I just have a real problem with this this money. So I could see it going to families who need it. But then there's this other piece of it of like, don't we have other spending priorities outside of Berkeley Heights? And I know that's a weird argument. Like, where is that money really going to get there?
You're
But
being a communist. Stop it.
I don't think that's communism.
I'm kidding, but I think
Okay.
I think bringing income into this totally complicates the issue. It's not that hard.
But it is complicated. It's ugly. I get it, but it's
Doesn't
a real
have to be
issue.
though.
It doesn't-
It doesn't have to be.
You can't sanitize it. You can't sanitize the need from this. You can't just say, because it makes me uncomfortable and because it's complicated, I don't want to address it. There are 1% of our families in this community live at the poverty line.
Okay,
Right? That's
but I
a really
don't think-
inverse number, isn't it? That's like really inverse.
It is, but I don't think this
income
boils down to
shouldn't-
income. Like
No,
I
look
don't
what
think
Basking
so
Ridge
either.
did.
Who
Sit down
says?
for
Who
6
says income
months,
shouldn't?
figure out your tiered scheduling. You save millions of dollars, and everybody gets an opportunity to take the bus. Like I don't disagree that we should be helping the families that need the most help, but I don't think that this is an issue that needs to be.
I'm cool. I'm cool with universal busing. Let's do it. My point is, I don't think that's going to happen.
No,
No.
it's not going to happen.
No,
Yeah.
and it doesn't need to
But I
happen.
don't like this option, then no one gets it, because that kind of pisses me off when somebody's like, oh, it's either this or nobody gets it. It's like Pam Stanley. It's her argument.
Okay, so
So
can
give
I
me a
make 2
middle.
points?
Yeah.
Go,
I wanna
Shauna.
I want to make 2 points. The first is we obviously have, and we public have not seen it, but based off of comments in the last meeting, we have some kind of a rubric now. And I think that is a result of the public being involved in this. So Pam Stanley said, she gave the example of using speed limits on streets. If the street is 25 miles an hour, you get this many points, 35, 40, whatever.
Sure.
But there's obviously something now that has been given to the BOE that they can use to determine what's hazardous and what's not hazardous.
No, they have a blank audit sheet with no data. What they have is what could be used to evaluate the streets, what
That's
were
fine.
used.
That's all we need.
So then who's
We
going to do that
just
evaluation?
We just need a way that we can say, here is why you qualify person X, and here is why you don't qualify person Y. That's what
Right.
was missing, and that's what we have now.
Well, no, what we have is an audit sheet that has to be completed with data to then produce a score to determine hazard. What's
Right.
missing is that
But it
data and that
gives it,
score.
but it keeps it from being subjective. Like, we think this is okay, you get it. We don't think this is okay, you don't get it. It gives us something subjective. So using that, I say we attach that to the policy. We can go with whatever the experts said, but this gives parents a chance to appeal. It
Who's
gives
going to fill out that sheet? Who's going to go around and fill out that sheet to make the determination?
We-
As
I
to
think
the
Sean
score?
is just saying that there
We can
is
start
criteria,
with-
whether it's been graded or not, there is a
Oh,
criteria.
you're saying
used.
regardless of the grades, forget the grades for now, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, for right now, for this year, we can go with what the transportation company suggested. We can go with their list of streets. But this gives us something to go by so that if there are changes that need to be made, if there's a parent who says, hey, please come score my road, we have something that we can use that's no longer, you know,
Subjective.
a subjective, make it up, pull it out of your ass kind of thing.
I'd be cool
So-
with that.
Yeah. So
The problem is that you have people who are not going to be included that are paying $1,000 a year.
but that's their prerogative. Their child could walk to school.
So you could make the same argument for people who live on this quote unquote hazardous road.
No.
So a kid
A
on
child
Plainfield Ave,
absolutely cannot safely walk up Diamond Hill Road to get to GL.
so this is the other thing that happened. That I get it. There are definitely streets on there that are hazardous, and Diamond Hill Road keeps coming up. No one is questioning Diamond Hill Road. No one is saying that kids on Diamond Hill Road should walk. The question is why a whole bunch of other streets are on there, and why a whole bunch of other streets aren't. Like Laura brought up in her
But
article.
That's where you use that sheet with the scoring. That's what's
How?
going to make it fair and equitable.
But so they have to go through an appeals process to get their street on.
Yeah.
Okay, and how long is that going to take?
It doesn't. For now, we go with what the transportation company put on. If
Yeah,
there's
I don't
time,
buy that. Yeah, I don't.
why not?
Because first of all, what's on there isn't what the transportation company put on. Plainfield Avenue was on there. It was then removed. I don't know
But-
what that.
But did the transportation company remove it, or did the BOE remove it?
Good
We
question.
don't know.
That's the problem with the list.
But something still has
I don't
to
trust
be-
that list.
Something still has to be done for these kids, like right now.
Right. That's why we're talking about. So I agree, and so number one, the kids on subscription busing, some of them make a very strong argument as to why they should live on hazardous roads. Going through an appeals process for them isn't right now, right? So I agree, but if it's going to be right now, it needs to be for all the kids and families who feel like their kids live on hazardous roads, having a fair sort of evaluation on their street. And what happened was not a fair evaluation. And we don't know who the decision makers were. Like the lists have different streets on them as time went on, Shauna. And we
Well,
have no
we don't-
criteria. Go ahead.
We can't say that it was an unfair evaluation because there are things I don't think we, the public, have seen. So it may have been a fair evaluation, but I don't, as you just said, between consultants to policy, we have no idea what happened in the middle.
A fair evaluation is transparent. I
can't
have
argue
no
that.
idea why. I have no idea why you would not share the scoring. Like that, there is absolutely no reason.
Well, I think
Just-
the argument that was made is that it would cause divisiveness because people wouldn't like their scores, which I didn't understand. And
As
because
opposed to now, when everybody's like
Right,
getting,
I don't-
Yeah.
like seriously, like come on, that's such bullshit. I think what it is they didn't want to put the town on, like, they're consultants. They need to make a business. I don't know. I don't know if that's like they didn't want to make the town look bad. I have no idea why they didn't share their scoring. I have no idea. That the idea that it would create divisiveness makes no sense because that's exactly where we are right now as a result of them hiding it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. All right. Yay, we agree on something.
Yeah. So I guess the question
Point.
is, I'm okay with universal. I'm 100% okay with that. I'm not okay, well, if we don't do universal, then nobody gets it. Or everybody has to pay for it.
Yeah, but this is what they did to Mary Kay when they went through the reconfiguration. This
Yeah,
was the first thing cut right before fiscal cliff, is that they took away the universal kindergarten busing, which had been around for years. I can't even give a number,
Yeah,
but we were
Jonathan
here.
Gogley even brought that up, right? Didn't he say
Yes,
something like that?
we had I mean, I think we had been in the district at this point for 7 or 8 years. It had always been a thing. Now, yes, people were angry. People didn't like it. People who had another child at Mary Kay that didn't get the free busing didn't like it, but everybody got over it. And the busing was taken away and people complained, but we all got over it. Now, do we have worse traffic problems?
Yeah.
You could argue yes. So further taking away more busing would likely cause more traffic issues, just going off historically what happens. But I don't, at the end of the day, we need a solution. We need it to be equitable, because at this point, if it's not, it's just crap. And we need it like yesterday. So I don't know.
I don't disagree with you guys. Go ahead, Shauna.
Because we need it yesterday, let's use what we were given. It's not perfect, but let's just use it and go forward from there.
I'm not okay with that.
Why not?
I mean, I just don't feel like.
So you'd rather just say nobody gets anything?
Is
That's
that what I'm
not
saying?
right either. That's worse. Saying
But then
nobody
is
gets anything is worse.
Is that what I said?
Well, that's what's going to happen.
I mean,
Yes.
that's not what has to happen.
It's not.
This
what
isn't
has
a
to happen,
binary.
but that's what's. If no one can decide who gets it, and we don't have something in place, they're not just going to give it to everybody. There's no way the BOE is just going to say, okay, everybody gets busing. That's not going to happen.
I feel like they're also hung up on needing a policy, which I don't question that. But I also wonder if the transportation for this year, I'm agreeing with Shauna, if it was an annual adoption of hazardous roads made annually by the Board of Ed. Because I think right now that the board is hung up on the language of the policy. And I agree with arguments made on both sides. But Shauna, to your point right now is that we do have a list of streets. I would argue the majority of them are dangerous. There might be more that were missed, but for this year, do we go with that? Is it an annual resolution on the Board of Ed agenda adopting the streets for the 24-25 school year?
That's
based
already in
upon
the
the
existing policy. The existing policy already says that the board can approve route by route.
Right, but then maybe this is what they do, and they work on the policy, because the policy needs to be data driven and there needs to be clearly defined criteria.
Well, that was my point.
Like
I mean, that was my point in the second article, is that if you want to go with this, which I'm okay with you doing that, Shauna, but then you have to kind of like give a little bit on the whole income thing, because there, at least for this year, because we don't have a certainty that that list is fair. We don't have certainty that the designations are accurate. So you at least, so I'll be okay with what you're saying, which is, hey, let's go with this list for now. But then the only thing I'm asking for in return is then like put in income criteria so that families who are impacted unfairly have flexibility, and that if they do end up on a hazardous route, that they get a refund or a credit at the end of the year. And that the town and that the Board of Education, instead of coming to our meetings, that the town council actually discuss this in their own meetings as to how they're going to correct some of this.
Yeah.
So I'm cool with what you want, but all I'm asking for is meeting the other side of this halfway, and at least giving some in for working families on subscription busing, at least in the acknowledgement that some of these designations may not necessarily be accurate.
Okay. The other issue I have with adding income to it is that it just makes it so complicated. You can't plan then. because families move in and out all the time.
Sure.
You never know how many families you're going to have with what income and whether they qualify for hazardous or not, or whatever. I think it makes your planning an absolute nightmare.
Nope.
If
I don't think so. So you set up a cutoff date.
Laura, are you
I'm
okay?
telling you how it does it. They did this mess before, right? Now
my
we have an
God.
orderly process. If you have the intention of using courtesy or subscription busing, you need to let us know by such and such a date. And these are the documents. And if your kid is eligible for the free lunch program, we're going to work you into the matrix so that by whatever date, we already know how many kids. Now, families move into the community. You know, it's a close and open window. So if you come in halfway through the school year, you know, we could simply say, well, we can't assure you a spot. We'll try, but we can't guarantee you that. You'll have to wait till next year. It's really not that hard. We already have a mechanism for income, the free lunch program. We already have a business office that can verify that. And we just have to have that the intent, right? Well, yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry.
well, you're right.
Business office is such
A business office that
freaking mess.
should be able to evaluate that. None of that's it's not complicated at all. Like I've run programs that have done this like every day, every single, like this is just what we did.
Right. But we haven't even heard about subscription busing, right? That hasn't even been on the radar. The focus has solely been on this hazardous courtesy busing because historically subscription was offered to everyone. And then it was like, what routes can we make that work? And then last year, students at Mountain Park and Mary Kay McMillan, that you couldn't even apply. Like if you needed it, you couldn't even apply for it. So, I mean, there's like tiers to all this busing. We haven't even heard about subscription if they're even thinking about it. I know that state aid kept coming up, but Natasha explained it really, really well. Maybe we can like clip that out.
Well, at the end, there really wasn't state aid. And what's ironic
Right.
about that argument is that the state actually told us to cut courtesy busing to save money. So whatever that formula was, it doesn't work out for us because they're on the record. We actually, I wrote an article about this 2 years ago or something.
Yeah, we
Or
read it.
Cy might have, where the state actually told us to cut courtesy busing as a way of saving money to avoid the quote unquote fiscal cliff. So whatever that formula is, it's not aid, but whatever that formula is, isn't producing the kind of revenue that people are saying, oh my God, we're going to lose. In fact, all indicators based on what the state feedback was, is that if we drop courtesy busing, it would actually help us financially, not hurt us. You know? I don't know. Look, I don't have a problem with universal busing. I'm okay with, I just don't like the universal busing or nothing. That bothers me. Like I'm cool. Like you could do universal busing.
I love it.
But the nothing, like the nothing for anybody.
Well, no, anyone who doesn't fall into the state mandated regulations for busing, just like we're not doing it.
I know. I don't. That's a tougher pill.
No,
for me
it's
to
not
swallow.
a great plan. It's like a if then. I mean, like we need a solution now. And like I don't like it either, but I also feel like there was people who spoke at that meeting, and I am empathetic to people who have had busing or who need busing that are concerned about whether or not they're going to get it. So my point about no busing is like, if you can't figure out a solution yesterday, then just say for next year, we're not going to be able to offer this, to give families time to figure out what they're doing, how they're going to afford it. And then we should be working on this June 1, or July 1, new fiscal year, figure this out.
You mean like stop it? You're like stop it for this year and then restart it the next?
Well, you've got to make a decision now. People need to plan. They need time.
When is the cutoff date? Do we know? Like when all this stuff has to be figured out by in order for the transportation routes to get
I
set?
don't really know, but I
I
imagine
think
it's a very complicated process.
I think they said by next meeting.
All right, well,
It's got to be done at the next meeting.
Well, we have time. I mean, this really isn't rocket science. I mean, it really is. Like, I know that everybody's making this out to be a complicated thing. It's really not. You know, the complicated thing, I think, is sort of the political egos, and the theater that's running this. Like, you know, there are all three of our solutions that we put out there, while we disagree, are viable. With the exception, I just don't think the no busing at all is going to fly.
No.
I just don't think
it's the worst solution
Yeah.
out of the four, but it is a solution to the problem that we're facing right now, in that you're giving families time to figure out what the heck they're going to do in September.
Yeah.
It's not good. I'm well aware of that, but it's one of the four.
Yeah. I don't know. Is that everything we have to talk about? I'm like not in a good mood today.
How is that different from any other day?
No, I'm like, I told you already. I'm like really fucking, I don't know. I'm just like really irritable today.
All right, well, go take a hot bath.
I don't like baths. They're disgusting. Like you sit in your old water, like it's like within 2 seconds, that whole fucking, it's like a soup of like bacteria.
I don't like baths either, just for the record. I think they're gross.
Fucking just gross.
Oh, I love a good soak, especially after a long run.
It's just like, it's like a petri dish.
You just wash your hair and you rinse afterward. It's good.
I don't know. I get sick thinking about it. Like the stuff that comes out from between, like all that stuff that's in your ass and through your toes comes into the water and you're sitting in it.
Oh my God.
That's disgusting.
Do you go to swimming pools?
I don't go in them.
But it's chlorinated, man.
Well, yeah, but what's the difference if you're gonna use your handheld sprayer and just spray off afterward?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't see a difference. I love a good soak.
I don't know if we really figured anything out today. I don't know. Anyway, this was
arguing for the sake of arguing. No.
Yep. No, this was good.
Hopefully the BOE, I don't know if they watch us, but maybe they get word. And...
Yes, they do. And like they have so many fake subscription names on our like, it's so funny because I know who's like signing up, it's like hilarious. But go ahead.
No, I feel like, I don't know, maybe they will at the next meeting be able to come to some kind of compromise. Just see them just roll with what we have right now. I know it's not perfect. My real estate coach says perfect is the enemy of done.
Like I said, Shauna,
let's just get it done.
I'm absolutely cool with going with that as long as there's a process where the BOE can vote route by route, and that there is an accommodation to at least working families who want subscription busing, where they pay either a reduced rate or no rate at all. So I'm cool with that piece of it, but I'm not cool with working families having to make an appeal that's going to take 6 months while $1,000 of their money is sitting in a bank account for the attorneys to review Oprah requests.
I mean, Dipti recommended sending out a survey.
They did that right a year ago. That was a fucking year ago.
No, she said it again on Thursday, whatever night that was. She said it again. Let's see who needs it. Let's see who wants it.
And the reality is, man, we have so much money. Like, universal busing might not actually be a big deal. And I guarantee you that these guys, at least half the board is going to ask for a tax increase this year, despite how flush this district is for money. And they're going to make a big deal of how we can't pay for universal busing. And that just tells you where their priorities are. It's in legacy projects and attorneys. I don't buy any of it, man. That's why this whole thing about money and how we can't afford it is ridiculous to me. I mean, I don't know how every year we're banking $1 million, $2 million, like, putting it in some type of account. Why? Where is that? What is that? What are we saving that money for? Do you know?
No.
Yeah,
I think our next episode will be on the budget, though.
Right. All right. Well, this was fun.
This was amazing. You guys are the best.
I am. Oh, and Shauna's too. Shauna's good too.
Where are my hearts?
All right, I'll see you guys.
Hearts. Is it
Where'd
doing
my
thumbs
shirt
up?
go?
No.
I don't know. I don't know where it went. Oh, there you go.
We're not doing this. No.
All right. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.